Hello. I promised you all a couple of days ago that I would bring you a list, give you a list of things that you should stockpile in your pantries or around your home so that you could sustain your family if in the case of, economic crisis or, some other major crisis in our country. So I've got a list of well over 100 items that you should potentially stockpile. Now, I want to preface this by saying, first of all, don't go in debt for this stuff. Debt's the worst thing you can do with an economic downturn. And so, these things you should, if you've got $5 left over or $10 left over, then go buy what you can buy. And then just keep adding to it as you can. But I'm going to start this list with food items. And I said before, your number one priority should be water. Make sure that you've got a stock of water in your house in case if electricity goes out, then wells won't work in that situation unless you've got some sort of solar backup situation. So the first thing besides water that I'm just going to read these off, I've got a printed page here that's got a whole list of stuff. And at some point I'll come on and I can show you how to store this stuff so that it lasts the longest. But the first thing I've got on here is apple cider vinegar, applesauce, and I'm talking about canned applesauce that does not need refrigeration and not those little bitty cups. I'm talking about canned. And then dried beans, bouillon cubes, canned soup, canned meat like canned tuna, chicken, salmon, sardines, whatever canned meat your family likes, cocoa, coconut oil, canned vegetables, either store-bought canned, home canned, some of both. Some of both is probably a good idea. Cereal. Now, the breakfast cereals that you buy in the grocery store, you can bring them home, vacuum seal them in a jar, like you've seen me do on the channel, and that will improve the, how long it'll stay. But if you just leave them in the boxes, they won't last very long. You could put them in Mylar bags with moisture absorber and oxygen absorbers, and that would make them last a lot longer. I've already mentioned canned chicken, coffee beans, or if you've got a way to grind it, you can get coffee beans or freeze-dried coffee. Now, regular coffee or K-cups or whatever, of course, K-cups, if you don't have electricity, is not going to work very well. But regular coffee, if you've got the right coffee pot, you could brew coffee. And the regular coffee already ground is what I'm talking about when I say regular coffee. If it's already ground, it's going to last 6 months to a year, probably at least a year. So then cornmeal, corn syrup, distilled water. Distilled water is important to have on hand because, it's been put through a process where it's a more sterile water. And then dried fruit, powdered eggs. We all know how important that is right now. Flour. If you're going to keep flour, then you need to put it in the freezer first. I think I said this before on another video. Put it in the freezer for 3 or 4 days. Take it out, let it thaw and come to room temperature, and then vacuum seal it. Or put it in Mylar bags or, whatever. You don't have to take it out of its original packaging. Just put it in something where it's going to be airtight. It's going to be cool in a cool, dark place. Freeze-dried cheese or hard cheese. Hard cheese lasts longer if you can buy real hard cheese. Then ghee. I can't remember if I have put my video, I've done videos here and on Facebook. So I've got a video on canning butter, which is basically you're canning butter, you're turning it into ghee. and then hardtack. Or if you've got jerky, one of those two things, honey, baking powder, real maple syrup, and real honey, not that little bear that you find in the grocery store. That's not usually real honey. Nuts, oatmeal, canned fish like the tuna I mentioned, dried oranges, any kind of dried fruit would be good. Parmesan cheese, pasta, peanut butter, but not open. Make sure you get something that's got a long expiration date on it. Pickles, popcorn kernels. I don't know if a lot of people may not realize this, but popcorn can be ground into cornmeal. So dried popcorn kernels is good to have on hand. And then in place of flour, if you can get the whole wheat, if you've got a way to grind it, it's good to have some real whole wheat on hand. But now when you do that, you're also going to have your baking soda, baking powder, yeast, all that good stuff. Powdered drinks, Kool-Aid, hot cocoa mix, non-fat powdered milk, protein bars, ramen noodles, raisins, rice, salt, lots and lots and lots of salt, like canning salt. I showed you mine the other day, I think. Canning salt, table salt, just different kinds, some iodized salt. Sauces like soy sauce, tomato sauce, pasta sauce, all of that canned. Spices and herbs. If you've got spices and herbs, then, you can make all kinds of stuff. You can take something and change it to 2 or 3 different things based on the seasonings that are in it. Sprouting seeds, garden seeds, sugar, tea, hard candy, vanilla, real vanilla extract, not that imitation stuff, white vinegar, and like I already said, whole grains and yeast. Make sure you've got your canning supplies. If we get into another bad situation, they keep saying, well, I hear over and over, we're going to have another pandemic. And we couldn't get canning supplies during the pandemic. So get your canning supplies and have them on hand. And then also your pet and animal feed. Excuse me. And then I want to give you a list of medications that you should have some of on hand. And when I say ibuprofen or Tylenol, that's for adults or children in your family. Aleve, isopropyl alcohol, peroxide, Benadryl, aspirin, Oragel, sunscreen, Pepto-Bismol, burn cream, triple antibiotic ointment, vapor rub, decongestants, electrolytes, hydrocortisone. If you've got somebody in your family that's seriously allergic to things like bees, make sure you've got the EpiPens, saline solution, sterile water, activated charcoal, laxatives, vitamins, and plenty of bandages and tape. And then you'll want to have some, if you have glasses, make sure you've got some extras, even if they're just reading glasses. And, just whatever you can find at the dollar store is better than nothing. And then I said garden seeds also, you might need some garden tools if you don't already have them. And then your health and beauty aids. I've already gone through the health. Excuse me. Your beauty aids like soap, deodorant, shampoo, feminine hygiene products, toothpaste, toothbrush, brushes and combs, laundry items, bleach, laundry detergent, dish detergent, toilet paper, paper towels, wet wipes. You ask those folks over in North Carolina and East Tennessee, how much the wet wipes came in handy when they could not take a bath. Kleenex, garbage bags, plates, cups, plastic cutlery, and then some other things that you might want to think about. If we had a serious, like a serious downturn in the economy, you might not be able to afford to use an electric cook stove. You might not have gas cook stove available. So if you had to cook outside over an open flame, of course you'd definitely have to have cast iron cookware with the utensils that you could use with cast iron, but out over an open flame. Some of that plastic stuff would not work over an open flame. A manual can opener, some seasoned wood, kindling, matches or lighters, plenty of newspaper. You might need that. Camp stove or a grill, tools, a chainsaw, a generator, fire extinguisher, duct tape, a tarp, rope or twine. If we had a bad storm and, tornadoes, the stuff like these folks up here in the mountains had, then I'm sure that duct tape and rope and twine and some things like that came in handy. And when I was working with Patara at Appalachia's Homestead and Pinball from Pinball Preparedness, and we were taking things to the folks over in East Tennessee mountains after the storm last year, one of the things that everybody was asking for was Benadryl. They were getting into bee nests, like yellow jacket nests, and also they needed mosquito repellent. There was a lot of water standing, lots and lots of mosquitoes. And then you'll also need bug spray, mouse traps, cleaning supplies. And in a situation like that, you will need lots and lots of garbage bags. So there's you well over 100 items that you can begin to stock. And of course, I would start with the water, the food, and some of those medications. You know what your family uses and what your family's needs are. I've said this before, if your family does not use it, then don't buy it. I don't stock very much rice at all because most of us just we don't eat it. I've got one or two in my family that do, so I do have a little bit of rice on hand, but I just don't stockpile a lot of it. And how much of this stuff should you stockpile? I said this before. Create a menu and figure out how much of this stuff that it takes per meal for your family. And then multiply it. If you're going to try to stockpile enough for 2 weeks, 3 months, 6 months, a year, and you can't do it overnight. If you've not started, don't get overwhelmed because it'll take you a long time to do this. But if you can grow a garden, that will make a huge dent in what you have on your shelves. Stock your tomatoes, especially stock your tomatoes, because with me, I stock dozens and dozens of jars of tomato juice because whenever I can, chili, taco soup, vegetable and beef soup, numerous things that I cook and can starts with a can of tomato juice, most of the time Roma juice. Your pasta sauces, pizza sauce, just regular marinara. And then, of course, with the tomatoes, that's going to give you sliced tomatoes for a sandwich and tomatoes for salsa. There are just so many things that you can do if you've got some tomatoes. And then you're going to want some peppers, bell peppers, cayenne peppers, jalapeno peppers, whatever your family uses, grow those. And, you can grow your corn and dry it, let it dry in the field. And you could grow popcorn, so you'd have it for cornmeal, or you can grow dry some corn for cornmeal, and you can cut it off the cob and can it. There's just, almost any vegetable, your potatoes, your green beans, your sweet potatoes. And as we go through the summer, you will see the things that I can. Of course, there's already several videos on the channel with me canning certain things. But I've already started a list of, peaches, and I'm getting apples next week. I've got a source where I can still get some apples, because I canned applesauce, or not applesauce, apple butter in the fall, and I put a few bags of apples in the freezer, but I was looking for apples and was out. So I'm going to be doing apples probably late next week. And so I will can some and freeze some. So there's just so many things that you can do if you've got a garden or access to fresh produce. Make sure you've got your canning supplies on hand now, in case if we have shortages again. So I hope this list helps you. If you have questions about the list or anything like that, leave me a comment. I look at my comments, several times a day, and I will answer every single comment. And, as a matter of fact, I'm going to set up an email address to put on this account, so that if you want to send me detailed questions, I'm happy to answer those too. I have stayed on email with people in the past to walk them through a canning project. So, it's what I'm here for. I want to help you. I want to teach you. I mean, I'm not a young woman anymore. My husband laughed at me this weekend because I said I was a little older, and I am a little older than I was last year. But anyway, I want to show you some things that, that I've learned through the years. And also, I have several more Depression era recipes that I'm going to be sharing on the channel over the next little while. So anyway, I'm going to get off of here now, and until the next time, be sure and like and subscribe to the channel. Subscribe so you can get a notice whenever I've put up a new video, and subscribe and share the videos with your friends and family. I'm just starting this channel, and I'm not making anything off of this. I'm doing this because this is exactly what I do in my home on a regular basis. And, if it does monetize, I figure it'll probably be another year or two before that happens. But if it does monetize, then it will help me to get some of the produce, the extra things that I buy, to show you on this channel. So anyway, until the next time, God bless you.